Hello dear students, welcome to economics class. I hope all of you are doing well. So students, in this video I shall be continuing with the question answers of chapter 3rd, that is money and credit. So in the previous video I had explained till question number 7th, and in this video I will be continuing with question number 8th. So as you can see on the screen, we have question number 8th. So the question is, in what ways does the Reserve Bank of India supervise the functioning of banks? Why is this necessary? So students, the RBI, that means the Reserve Bank of India, is the central bank of India, and all the other public sector banks work under the supervision of the RBI So the RBI manages the functioning of banks in several ways. RBI is having a big responsibility. It supervises the functioning of all the public banks in the following ways, which I am going to explain you. So the first thing, the RBI monitors the banks in maintaining cash balance. So students, I have already explained you that the money that is deposited by the depositors, that means the deposits, that those deposits are used as loans. They are given as loans to the borrowers. Whoever comes to take the loans, they are given the deposits. So the RBI monitors that a minimum cash reserve should be kept, it should be maintained by the bank, so that whosoever comes to withdraw their money, they can withdraw it very easily without any difficulty. So this is the first work of RBI. Next, it monitors that loans are not just given to profit making organizations but also to small scale cultivators and small scale industries. So this is another important work of RBI, that loans should not only be given to big businessmen or profit making organization, but it should be distributed equally. Whosoever is in need of loans, they should be sanctioned the loan properly. So it should be given to small scale cultivators, small scale businessmen, entrepreneurs and small scale industrialists. So this is the second work of RBI. Next, it maintains a periodic report of other banks regarding the amount loaned to people. That means RBI must have the complete information regarding loans are given to whom, at what rate of interest, how much loan is given. So all the details must be very clearly reported to RBI. So a periodic report is submitted by the banks to Reserve Bank of India. Next, it also keeps a regular check on the interest rates set for loans in public sector banks. So it is the responsibility of RBI to check the rate of interest, whether the bank is charging very high rate of interest or it is charging very low rate of interest. So this should be checked by the Reserve Bank of India. So the RBI is having a big responsibility. So it is very necessary, and which is very necessary for transparent and smooth functioning of banks. So I hope that question number 8 is clear to everybody. Now students, we shall move to question number 9th. So question number 9th is, analyze the role of credit for development. So students, credit plays a very crucial role for the development of the country. See, there is huge demand of loans for various economic activities, and cheap and affordable loans give people an opportunity to develop their business. See, if I am doing a startup, I don't have so much money, I have taken loans and I have got loan at cheap interest rate. So that will motivate me, that will encourage me to set a startup. So cheap and affordable loans, they give an opportunity to develop their business. Also students, credit plays a very important role in agricultural activities, as major part of the population of India is engaged in agricultural activities. People can borrow money and use if they get cheap and affordable loan at if they get loan at cheap and affordable rate of interest, then they can borrow money and use that money in modern farming methods to grow crops which are more reliable than the traditional methods of growing crops. Also, by sanctioning loans to developing industries and trade, banks provide them with the necessary aid for improvement, and this leads to increased production, employment and profits that ultimately will help in the development of country. So, credit plays a very important role. If suppose I am a landless farmer, I am not having any money, if I want to grow something, please cut that line. Students, I gave you the example of Salim, right? She was a shoe manufacturer. He got an order from a big trader to manufacture 3,000 pairs of shoes. So what he did? He took loan in two ways. First, he got leather from the leather manufacturer. He got leather and he promised that leather manufacturer that he will pay his money once he completes his order. And second, he took advance from the trader, and as a result of which he was able to complete his target and he was able to get good profits. So, loan plays a very important role, and not only loan at cheap rate of interest. So, I hope that this question is clear to everybody. Now, let's move to question number 10th. So, Madhav needs a loan to set up a small business. On what basis will Manav decide whether to borrow from bank or money lender? Discuss. So, let me tell you that bank is a formal sector to obtain credit and money lender means the informal sector or source to obtain credit. So, first of all, Manav needs to compare the rate of interest charged by both money lender and bank, and whosoever charges less should be his option. Also, he needs to analyze whether he has all the eligible documents, because documents are needed in order to obtain loan from banks. He needs to have a salary slip or an income tax return, Aadhaar card, PAN card and several other documents are needed in case he has to get a loan from bank. Also, he needs to decide that how he wishes to pay off the loan, means the mode of repayment needs to be decided by him. So, these factors should be taken into consideration, and after this only he should decide whether he should opt formal sector or informal sector. He should see the risks involved in both formal and informal sector, and only after analyzing the risks and all other factors he should decide that which option he has to opt for. So, I hope that question number 10th is clear to everybody. Now, let us come to question number 11th. So, question number 11th is, in India, about 80% of farmers are small farmers who need credit for cultivation. So, in question number 11th, we have 4 questions. So, I will be discussing all the 4 questions. Question number A. Why might banks be unwilling to lend to small farmers? See, banks might be unwilling to lend to small farmers because of the risk involved, because of high risk. See, if the harvest gets ruined due to any reason like the climatic condition or due to pest attack, then there is a possibility that they might not be able to receive the installments on time, or it is also possible that they might not get the repayment, they will not get their money back. Also, students, proper documentation is required for getting loans from bank, which might not be available with small farmers. They might not be having all the papers, legal papers and documents with them. That is why banks might be unwilling to lend to small farmers. Now, question number B. Question number B is, what are the other sources from which small farmers can borrow? See, if I move to the informal sources of credit, then we have money lenders, traders, employers, big businessmen, relatives, neighbors. These are the informal sources of obtaining credit. Now, let's come to question number C. Question number C is, explain with an example of how the terms of credit can be unfavorable for the small farmer. See, first of all, terms of credit means interest rate. So, he'll have to pay the amount with fixed rate of interest. And if I take an example, then suppose a farmer borrows money from bank and during the harvest season his crops got ruined due to pest attack or due to climatic condition. Then he shall not be able to repay the loan to the bank and will further fall into the trap which is called as debt trap. So this way terms of credit can be unfavorable for small farmers. Now let's move to question number D. So question number D is, suggest some ways by which small farmers can get cheap credit. So students, if the farmer needs to avail cheap credit, then he'll have to move to formal sources. I'm repeating the line again. See, if the farmer has to get cheap credit, then he has to move to formal sources of obtaining credit, and the formal sources are banks and cooperative societies. So this way he can get cheap credit, and also he can get cheap credit from SHGs, that is self-help groups. So I hope that till here all the questions are clear. Now let's come to question number 12th. So question number 12th is, in question number 12th there is fill in the blanks. So let's start with question number A of 12th. So question number A is, majority of the credit needs of the dash households are met from informal sources. So students, I have already explained you that the majority of credit needs of the poor households, most of the poor households, they are dependent on the informal sources like the money lenders, traders, employers, etc. So poor will come in this blank. Next, question number B. Dash cost of borrowing increases the debt burden. So high cost increases or the low cost increases? Definitely high cost of borrowing increases the debt burden. So high will be there in this blank. Next, C. Dash issues currency notes on behalf of the central government. So I have already told you that the RBI, that means the Reserve Bank of India, issues currency notes on behalf of the central government. Next, question number D. Banks charge a higher interest rate on loans that what they offer on. Please cut that line. Now let's come to question number D. Banks charge a higher interest rate on loans than what they offer on dash. So they charge a higher rate of interest on loans than what they offer on deposits. So in this blank, deposits will come. Now let's move to the last fill in the blank, that is E. Dash is an asset that the borrower owns and uses as a guarantee until the loan is repaid to the lender. So I have already explained you that collateral is an asset that the borrower owns and uses as a guarantee, and this collateral can be land, building, vehicles, any vehicle or livestock, or deposits with bank. So I hope that till question number E, that is till question number 12, it is clear to everybody. Now let me move to the last question, that is question number 13. So question number 13 says, choose the most appropriate answer. So we have two questions in question number 13. The first one, in an SHG, most of the decisions regarding saving In an SHG, most of the decisions regarding savings and loan activities are taken by, the options are, the first option is bank, the second option is members, and the third option is non-government organization. So let me tell you that most of the decision in self-help groups are taken by the members themselves. So the correct option is option number B, members. Now students, let's come to the last question, that is question number 2 of 13th. So the question is, former sources of credit do not include option A, banks, option B, cooperatives, and option C, employers. So formal sources of credit includes banks and cooperatives. They do not include employers. Employers come in informal sources of credit. So I hope this question is clear. So the correct option will be option C. So I hope that all the question answers as well as all the topics of the chapter are clear to everybody. And I am giving you a homework. You have to solve all the questions that are given in between the chapters. So I hope that the chapter is well understood by everybody. So thank you so much, and I'll meet you in the next video with a fresh chapter. Thank you so much. Stay safe.